Hush your mouth. What I was saying was the honor guard skin for the Mozambique is actually really fucking cool.
Put it out.
Have you seen that one?
Which one?
Honor guard for the Mozambique.
Mozambique.
It's actually really cool.
Mozambique.
Ooh, I love that Lone Star one for the Peacekeeper.
Lone Star for that's the one I would love. Like out of all the ones I would actually might spend money on, like the Lone Star is definitely one I actually.
The PAL 9000 is cool because it's Pathfinder.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I do like that one too because that's very Pathfinder-esque.
So what I was gonna say, hey guys, welcome to the pre-show. What I was gonna say, non-Apex related, was watching the first 30 seconds of the Zombieland trailer. If they actually do the stylized, like, not slow down time, fucking, what's the word I'm looking for?
Bullet time?
Not bullet time. Slow-mo. If they do like the slow-mo shots with them like doing the action poses, like if that's actually in the movie, in the film, that'd be kind of cool. Because I like stylized stuff like that.
What are you talking about? They did that in the first one too.
Dude, it's been since like fucking, I think the last time I saw that movie was like 2011.
Well,
it's been a while.
That's your problem then, honestly. Saw that last week, dick.
Did you watch Zombieland last week?
Might not have been last week, but yeah, I watched it very recently.
We went and watched This Is the End the other day, or last Saturday. Again, the one with Seth Rogen, James Franco, where they.
What do you mean by you went to see it?
I meant we went back and watched it.
Oh, okay. I'm like, you went to a theater to watch an old. That's something I don't personally get. Going to a theater to watch an old movie. Like, have you ever done that? And if you have, like, what?
The only reason I would do that would be for movies that I feel like you should see in a theater. So if they like re-released Interstellar in IMAX, I would want to go watch it because I never saw it in IMAX. And like when they were doing the re-releases for the Star Wars movies, like all the prequel movies I saw in theaters.
Yeah.
But like I never went and saw like A New Hope or Empire Strikes Back in the theater. So stuff like specialty things like that I would.
Yeah. And see, like the thing is that like the shit like what is it? Like the fucking God, why can't I speak words? Words are so hard, Nate.
So hard. It's so hard.
Oh, when they did the freaking MCU where it's like watch all the fucking movies, it's like no, thank you.
See, I maybe would have.
No, goddamn, thank you.
Avengers, like when they did it the very first time, because you're only watching like.
I could see me doing that, maybe, yeah.
But when they did that shit for Endgame or even Infinity War, it's like, hey, come watch all the 22 movies back to back. I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm sorry. See, now there's this, what's it called? What's one of the famous, like, Japanese companies that does the anime movies? It's like Team something.
Studio Ghibli?
There you go. So at Regal, they're doing the, Fathom events or whatever the fuck it's called. And one of them is Princess Mononoke, which is like the best anime of all time. And so it's like that one I like legit looked at and been like, that might be one where like I wouldn't mind seeing in theater.
Well, the problem with like the Marvel ones in particular is for me it's burnout.
Is
like
that what I was talking about? No, I was talking about goddamn Mononoke. Have you ever seen it?
Statement. No, I haven't seen it. The last studio movie. The last studio movie.
Do you like animes?
Yeah, I actually had this conversation at work the other day. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of animes that I want to watch, but I just never make time to watch.
Yeah, I think I might like something like, what is it, Crunchyroll or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I think I might actually like that because there's a couple of things that I've wanted to watch, but it's like, it's just I can't find them, or if I do, like it's maybe the first episode's subbed and then the rest are dubbed or something. But like, Princess Mononoke is a big one because it's like that one I could just watch over and over again. It's such a good fucking movie, and it's like beautiful.
The only anime that I've actually watched to fruition and watched several spinoffs was Yu-Gi-Oh! I remember watching the length of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then watching like GX and stuff like that.
But, oh my god, did you watch GX? GX is obviously so much better.
Dragon Ball Z, watched off and on as a kid. Never watched the entirety of it. I watched like the first season of Naruto. Didn't never finish it. I want to do that at some point because I see a lot of stuff from Naruto and I'm like, fuck, this looks cool. And then the same thing with Avatar. That's my biggest sin is I never finished The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
I only got to, what was it, 3 seasons?
You're saying that like I'm supposed to fucking know.
I think I only watched like to book 2. There's either 3 or 4 seasons. I only got to book 2.
Yeah.
So, but that's one of those that's a classic. That's a classic for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've actually finally went and started to watch Star Wars Rebels because I finally got a good bit of episodes. It's fucking good, dude. I remember when that came out, I was like, I'm not gonna watch that. It's on Disney XD. It's gonna be geared towards kids. And it wasn't really until I started talking with Anthony and we started doing the show where he was like, dude, have you not watched Rebels? I was like, no. He was like, there's like legitimately important shit in that show. I'm like, oh, really? Like, and it's I can see like the first season is a little bit kiddie, kind of like the first season of Clone Wars was, but there's like a lot of like really backstory stuff that's like, oh, okay, this is important. This is important.
That's funny. Funny how much of a nerd you are.
Oh, did I tell you I watched? So here's a funny story for you.
Check this out, guys.
So I texted you guys, what was it, Friday or Saturday in the main Discord, and was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go see Far From Home." Which, by the way, you're funny, but you're a fucking dick because your reply was, "Iron Man dies." Tony Stark dies. I was like, such a dick. But what was funny was we made plans to go see that.
Oh yeah.
I texted you that. I shit you not. A moment fucking later, my wife's like, "Did you buy the tickets yet?" I was like, "No." And she was like, "Don't." And I was like, "Okay, why?" And apparently she went to go get her nails done when I got paid. She was going to get a pedicure, but what she gets on her toes, that salon didn't have it. So she had to go to a different one. So this guy, while he was giving her a pedicure, was on his phone texting at the same time.
Yeah.
And so the time we were going to go, she didn't end up getting back until like 15, 20 later or something like that. Like it was way past the window we were going to go see it. And so it's just one of those, it's like, I was like, yeah, we're going to go see it. I said it in the group. And then a fucking moment later, hey, we're not going to go see it. I'm like, motherfucker. But I ended up watching Lion King this weekend.
You poor thing.
Did you see it?
Yeah. Well, I have a daughter. Of course I fucking saw.
Okay. What's your opinion?
What the fuck do you think my opinion is? It is such a bad movie. It is so goddamn lifeless. And it's because, of course, they wanted to go for photorealism or whatever. But then it's like you got this scene where it's like the scene of like Mufasa dying, like almost got me to tear up until like you got closer. You know what I mean? When you got closer and you saw Simba's face and how it's like, yeah, it kind of looks sad, but it really just looked like meow or whatever. But then like I immediately go back to like my memories of seeing Simba and his face, his absolute like distraught face, like dad, wake up or whatever. And just the voice actors just didn't seem like they could give that good of a performance, because it's like, well, you can't be super animated with your emotions because the lions aren't animated, and so we can't animate it that way. So sorry.
So I have multiple thoughts about this that are really interesting. One of which is this is a consistent flop with Disney with their live action movies. Have you noticed that?
See, and now like I agree with, I can't remember who said it. So
now I didn't see Beauty and the Beast. I wanted to see Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. But yeah, call me out in the Discord or whatever if you can think of. Oh, did you put the live?
I have not. No.
Yeah,
where do you want me to put that?
Just put it in Patreon. But yeah, so I can't remember who said it, but somebody said that like part of the reason like Aladdin is a little bit better, like it's not like loads better, but part of the reason that Aladdin is better is because it deals with humans. Whereas this one, it deals with animals. They're going for a quote unquote live action approach to it. And that's really what kills this movie, because it's like,
well, so what's the biggest difference between this and the Jungle Book in your opinion?
It had a human and they had way more emotions on their face, way more. Like, go back and watch Jungle Book and see how much emotions was on their face. In fact, Jon Favreau is quoted to saying that they did too much, that they didn't make them look real enough. And so then fast forward to Lion King, he makes them look so realistic that there's no emotion. There's
if
nothing.
they would have teamed up. Did he team up with Andy Serkis for the Jungle Book, or was that just Mowgli?
No, that was Mowgli, bro.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Mowgli, like you go back and you see that, I feel like they made those animals look just as real, but
that's
just
what I'm
look
saying.
At how much like emotion there is.
If they would have teamed with his studio for The Lion King, I feel like it would have been a lot better. Because like the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, of course they're fake, but those fucking monkeys look like photorealistic, but yet they emote the way they
exactly.
So I teared up twice in the movie.
Yeah,
in Lion King. The first one, surprisingly, was at the very beginning of the movie. I don't know what the fuck it was, but the moment the sun started to come up and it started, like it was one of those, I got chills, and like it was one of those, and The Lion King wasn't one of my favorites growing up. Like it wasn't one of my favorite Disney movies. I wanted to rewatch it when I became an adult and realized it's actually the story of Hamlet.
Right.
Because I enjoyed literature in that sense. And so I jumped in, and when that happened at the very beginning, I was like, oh, I was not expecting to feel this way. And then I did tear up when the Mufasa.
What's up, baby? Okay.
I did tear up when the Mufasa scene happened, but that was mostly because I think what the part that got me was when he curled up into him. Like he was like, I'm really.
Yeah. And see, it was sad. It's just, I feel like, what, sweetie? I tried to say what before, so hurry up.
I just wondering what you're doing.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to be recording, okay?
Okay.
All right. Love you, sweetie.
Love you.
Bye. But yeah, it's like it was emotional, but it's like, and like something I noticed, which only if you watched it again, I think you would be able to pick up on it or whatever. But something I noticed, but there's a lot of times that they go out of their way to not look at the person who's talking when it's a lion.
I noticed that.
You did? And see, and I think it's because they knew how uncanny it was to just be like, see, here we go. I got it. Yeah, I know, right? This is so sad. Like, but yeah, there's so many, like Mufasa's doing his big speech about like, there's like people up in the stars and whatever. It's supposed to be like this, emotional time or whatever. And it's looking at Simba, looking at him instead of looking at Mufasa and the look on his face. Well, guess what? It's because there's no fucking look on his face. It just felt soulless. Like Seth Rogen and the
Billy Eichner.
That guy, like they did fine or whatever. But it's like, I feel like it's also because like somehow they put emotion into Timon and Pumbaa. So it's like, if you're going to do that, why not put it into the lions? Why was it so important to be photorealistic? I honestly do not understand. If it was so important to be photorealistic, then everybody should have just been communicating through telepathy, because what the fuck?
The only performances apart from Mufasa gets a pass just because James Earl Jones, he's the original, so he gets a pass as far as this goes. The only performances I really, really enjoyed in the entire movie was Timon and Pumbaa, was Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner, and I also liked Rafiki, but it was because I realized who Rafiki was.
Rafiki's
the monkey.
Letdown.
That's okay. So like he didn't have a whole lot, which was disappointing for me. But when I realized who that was, it was Black Panther's. It was Black Panther's dad.
Oh,
I was like, oh, that it kind of like that character was cool. That character was believable to me. I'm like, oh, because he's he's actually African, like very traditionally African. But
so much about that movie.
There's
so many. Go ahead.
The thing that's really interesting to me is I felt the same way I did when I watch. So like I remember having this realization when I watched Mulan like several years ago. Like it was just a few years ago. I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. I'm like, fuck, that went by really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, that was a really quick movie. I felt the same way about this movie. And this movie was like almost 2 hours on the dot.
Yeah, right.
When I walked out, it felt like I just only watched like an hour and 20 minute long movie.
Yeah.
Which is weird for a live action movie, But they also cut scenes.
Yeah.
Like they cut. I didn't notice until Chelsea pointed out, they cut the scene when they were in drag, when they were wearing the fruit, which would make sense because how would you explain that realistically?
But that's the point. It doesn't need to be realistic. It never was realistic. It was a fucking animation. So I just wish they would have went the animated route rather than the live action route, because there's just so many things. Like when Rafiki goes and he's like beating the crap out of all the hyenas or whatever. It's how fucking hard, even with realistic monkey movement, would it have been for him to do the backhand thing?
They did it in fucking like that. That's what you're saying is exactly the same thing. They did that shit in the Dawn of the Planet in the fucking new Planet of the Apes movies. Like they look realistic, but they're fucking emoting. Like they're seriously emoting.
It's so infuriating because there's just little things that they change, but then it's like they change it for such a stupid. Oh my god! Like the one Pumbaa moment where he's all like, "Did you just call me Tubby? Did you just call me Tubby?" And then he's all like, "There's one thing I'll always do, and that is stick up to bullies." And I'm like, it's like he was stumbling over his own words, and it's just like it did not come off right.
The thing I was most disappointed in was definitely Donald Glover, because I really love Donald Glover.
Oh God, right?
And like just watching Atlanta not too long ago, Atlanta's phenomenal. If you guys haven't seen Atlanta, it's phenomenal. It's like I love his I feel like he's my spirit animal, and like in real life.
Is he a lion?
He's not a lion, no. But it's like him and Beyonce. Like I could give two fucks about him and Beyonce's performance.
Right?
Beyonce's not a bad actress. She's been in other stuff before, but it's like out of the lions, it was Mufasa, and I don't remember what his mom's name was, but those two were the only ones that I felt like actually had a really good performance.
Yeah.
But that's also because they're two like really high class actors.
Yeah.
Terry Woodford, I think is her name.
Yeah.
She's been
that just goes to my point that like when it comes
Scar wasn't scary.
Yeah. Yeah. But Donald Glover, going back to Donald Glover, that was kind of my point about like how animated have we seen Donald Glover? How emotional have we seen him? We know he's a good actor, but in this, it seemed like he was reading lines.
Yep.
It's all like Hakuna Matata. It means no worries, you know. And even like his singing was just kind of like, okay, motherfucker, I've heard you sing. You can sing good, motherfucker.
Yeah.
God damn, sitting there like, it means no worries for the rest of your day. I'm like, oh my god. And see, like they're like legitimately like good additions to it. Like, okay, the funniest like so aside from the Timon and Pumbaa, John Oliver as fucking Zazu or whatever. Yes,
yeah,
please.
That was like him.
Best part of the best line in the entire movie. I caught two giraffes necking. Okay, so like it's like kind of silent in the theater. He says that, and I like go, ha-ha! And like nobody else laughed at that part, but I just laughed so fucking hard because I laughed out loud, and then I pretty much had to like cover my mouth because it was just like that was hilarious.
Yeah, I feel like Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner really played off each other a lot. Like I liked their back and forth. Like the whole scene whenever they discover him, where you're like, it's a lion. He's like, it's not a lion. And then they're like, oh, what if we raise him? He's like, I got it. Just hear me out, Pumbaa. What if we raise him? What if we keep him? It was like, and then he even broke the fourth wall a couple times. You notice that?
Yeah, I think so.
There was like one scene. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were going to sing. Like he would say shit like that. I was like, all right, that's pretty funny. God.
The part where he says every time that I fart and he's like, aren't you supposed to stop me? And I'm like, that was too meta. You know what I mean? Like, it's little things, just the little.
I didn't catch.
You didn't catch that? Yeah. So he's like, I got down hard, or I got downhearted. How did you feel every time that I farted? And he's like, aren't you supposed to stop me? And he's like, no, you're disgusting. I'm like, oh my God. I just like the way that flowed is just like, I don't know if that was like a blooper that just made its way into the movie or something, but it's like, I fucking hated that part. Cause it's like, Because even if they wanted to change it from because that was kind of a fourth wall breaking moment where it's like, hi, Pumbaa, not in front of the kids. It was plural, as in like there's kids watching. You can't say that or whatever. But instead, they could have just be like not in front of the kid. Because there was even certain lines in the Beauty and the Beast remake, which I know you said you didn't watch it, but there were certain lines that they had to fix because basically in the original like songs, the way that they said it was basically that it's been like 10 years or whatever, which means that when he was cursed, he would have been like 10 or 11 years old. And so they had to change certain things about it to make sure that it, instead of 10 years, we've been waiting with so much rust. And so instead of 10 years, they've been for too long, we've been waiting. And so like changes like that, it's like, okay, you're doing it for a reason or whatever. But like changing that, like all they would have had to do is Pumbaa, not in front of the kid, make it singular rather than plural, and it would have still made sense, and it still would have fit inside the, we're trying to be realistic or whatever. I don't know. It's just
I feel like the biggest thing that Beauty and the Beast had controversially wise was the whole thing of Gaston's or Josh, whatever his name is, his character being gay. I feel like other than
character
that,
being openly gay.
I feel like that was the only thing really negative that it had about it. I never heard anything about
auto tuning.
I never heard anything about the Cinderella one.
Emily Watson's auto tuning was horrible. Wait, did I just
Emma Watson?
Sorry, I thought I might have gotten a.
So do you want to let them know what you texted me, what the parameters? I mean, I know you texted it in the group, but like what?
Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
I was hoping that was her because I thought I got a message or whatever, but it was just somebody replying to a thing earlier. But yeah, Justine Huxley. Yeah, Justine Huxley. She's the voice to Watson, our new girl, and new listener. What's his face? New listener, Ron. He said something, and basically I was all like, Watson is almost worth it just for her bubbly personality brought to life by, and then I added her at Justine Huxley, and so then she liked it. So then, like last night, I was like, okay, guys, she liked her tweet. Now let's see if we can get her on the show. Everybody retweet this or whatever, which of course, like, I think like 2 goddamn people retweeted it. Like, God, get your stuff together, people.
She looks so familiar, but she only has 9 acting credits.
Yeah. She does look like super familiar.
She was in Incredibles 2 for miscellaneous crew. She's in the Spyro remake as a voice. It doesn't say what. She was
a voice. Wow.
She was in Red Dead Redemption 2 for local pedestrian population.
Yeah. Okay. So I literally got 2 retweets. Like, guys.
And then
luckily she got back to us, so I guess that doesn't matter. But still, it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, what is the point of having so many people? And I did it at like 6 o'clock at night, so it wasn't like I did it too early in the day or too late at night or whatever. It's like, guys, come on, get with it. Okay, let's get into it. Let's just
get this road on. Let's get this road on the show.
Yeah, let's get this rash on the road.
Okay. Hi, buddy.
Do you want to get started?
So that Dextero page doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, it doesn't?
What?
Why?
I don't know. It says this is this. Oh, wait, hold on.
Is it because that 9 is
it might be
highlighted anymore?
Buddy, what are you doing? Let me add 9 to the end of it.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, boo boo.
Hey,
yep, boo. That's exactly what it is. Dizzy's kind of is that? I don't want to say something. Does Dizzy have some kind of medical condition?
I don't know why.
I was gonna say that kid looks like he lives on the internet.
Fuck me right up the ass and call it macaroni.
If he has some sort of condition, I don't want to be insincere.
You don't want to be a dickwad.
I don't want to be a dick, but he's a little funny looking.
I don't know my thing. I mean, he could either that or he's just a skinny, kind of scraggly kid.
He looks like a Pixar character. That haircut. Hi, buddy. Hi. What's he doing,
God,
big boy?
why can't I just look at a goddamn site? Nope, can't look at a site. All right, you want to get started?
Yep.
Ha, let's get it started.
Yeah.
And the bass keep running. Okay. Dairy, legendary. What's up, legends? Welcome back to HUBcast. I'm your host, Nick. Here with me today is
Nate.
It's Nick and Nate. Nick and Nate. It's always great with Nick and Nate. Nick and Nate.
I'm Nate. I decided to wait for you because I know you like to cut in while I'm doing it. So,
alrighty. So. Yeah. Let's get it started. And let's get it started in here. So, make sure to follow us at Apex Legends Cast on Twitter, or you can go to our Discord where I have a lot of you guys. And hey, we've got some Spotify listeners on there. So if you're one of those Spotify listeners, you're like, where do I find this Discord? Just go into the description, okay? You scroll down a little bit, find it there. You might have to click read more. And then, go to our Discord. We have a lot of guys there. So, and we have a lot of them. We have a lot of them on Xbox. We have a lot of them on PlayStation, a couple of PC people too. So whatever you play on, we have a lot of people there. So you can find a squad, hook up, and drop down. Let's see what I did there.
You got it. I got you.
I did it. Yeah, you got it. I sent it. It was received.
Giggity.
Not really.
Well, it's dead silence. I don't know. I was putting something in there.
Giggity.
That was a giggity. That certainly was a giggity.
All right, so let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about this time. So we have a care package incoming. See, now there was a silence there because that's where you put the music in.
You know what?
I didn't want you to be alarmed because I was being silent.
Hush your mouth.
Hush your face and go to hell.
Mind your business.
You're no good, dear duck. You're just like your father. I'm feeling
it.
You know what I mean? All right. So first up, we had kind of a big tournament. Basically, EA put it together, and so obviously their big flagship was Apex Legends. On July 11th, ESPN hosted their first EXP event, with Apex Legends being the game of choice. Some of the biggest names in gaming and sporting's world, good reading, Nick, descended onto Los Angeles for the hopes of becoming an Apex champion. Some would say the top of champions.
Yeah, they get legendary status. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the sporting world participants were WWE superstars. Yeah. And why isn't Math Cop here for this?
Cousins of the Rock.
Yeah. So Cousins of the Rock, and also upcoming Hobbs and Shaw movie co-starring along with their cousin. And then the winner was Roman Reigns. Also competing was 6-time WWE Tag Team Champion Xavier Woods, host of a YouTube show, Up, Up, Down, Down, with 2 million subs.
Yeah, they just hit 2 million, so congrats to them. He's a really funny. I'm not a big wrestling guy, but man, he's an entertainer. Xavier Woods is an all-around entertainer.
Yeah. And then the bragging rights and charitable donations went to the Foundation, set up in the name of the former basketball coach Jim Valvano to help out cancer research, where the only prizes
They were the only prizes
Mark,
that were
yeah,
on.
no, mark that. Where are the only prizes on offer? Oh,
The bragging rights and donations were
Yeah.
the only prizes on.
oh, okay, but that did stuff. Okay, so let me mark that and just be like, but no money prize didn't stop the players like Dizzy from showing up in a big way. So people actually from IGN won, so that was kind of cool. Sandy Goodman won, and she is a god damn it, what is wrong with me? So Sandy Goodman won. She's a IGN staff member, and she actually, puts on a lot of stuff. So we stole from it. I guess. I don't know. Oh man. But she put out something called Sandy's Daily Routine for Success. Develop a meditation practice. Sandy uses the app Calm every morning for 10 minutes. I'm not sure what that is, so I don't know if we should. I don't know if we should leave this part in.
Yeah, basically what Calm is, I wanted to try it, but there's some parts you have to pay for. So basically what it is it's like a podcast kind of, where like depending on what mood you're in,
Okay.
like you pick something, like if it's rainy day, it might have some inspirational quotes or something like that on there. It's used for meditation. It's actually really cool, but there's parts of it you have to pay for.
Okay.
So it's like a subscription service.
We'll just take that part out. Let me set it up better. So it's actually funny because people from IGN won, one of them being Sandy Goodman. She often does the daily fix or whatever. So that's kind of good. Good for them.
Yeah, I didn't realize she was the one that was doing the fix now.
Yeah.
I honestly really haven't paid much attention to IGN since everyone I know left.
Right?
Not me personally, but the people I watch, like Naomi Kyle.
Yep.
And like I think the only one around still that I really pay attention to is Brian Altano and Damon Hatfield.
Yeah, and see the same thing happened with me for GameSpot because who's the Irish
Daniel Dwyer.
child? Daniel Dwyer. And even then, like I didn't mind it too much, but then like it's kind of like the same thing that happened with like Beyond or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like they tried to keep the spirit for like literally an episode, and then it was just like, it wasn't bad or whatever, but it's like one of those situations where it's like, I didn't really sign on for this. So
that's why that's why I love when Kind of Funny brought in PS I Love You XOXO, because it's a spiritual successor to Beyond, and it's one of those, that format is so special.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, like, I still love, even though they don't do it anymore, I still love that whole podcast series, because it's like, oh man, like I can think back listening to Beyond when it was Greg and Colin and all them. But yeah, I feel you on that. I've listened. Beyond isn't bad. Beyond isn't bad, especially nowadays. But it's one of those, I would rather listen to them on the comedy button, because Max and Brian on the comedy button, oh god, if you want the chuckles, man, they are really, those two work really, really well together.
Yeah. I started really resenting when PS like best friend, or not PS best friends, PS I Love You, started talking way too much about Switch. And I'm like, I hate to be a nitpicky little bitch or whatever, but it's like, I'm coming here for my PlayStation news, and having them say stuff like, oh, this would make a really good Switch game. I'm like, go F yourself. Stop talking about Switch. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so go ahead.
No, you're going to finish. I was going to say something else. So go ahead.
Well, I don't know anymore because you.
Okay, whatever. So Jesus. Like going with Danny, like Danny O'Dwyer, same with you. I used to love him on GameSpot, and I really enjoyed him when he was on Kind of Funny Games Daily. But after that, and I really started following him on Twitter, and all the stupid stuff that he would honestly, like, he is one of the most, like, when people always complain about like games media people, like how echo chambery they are.
Yeah.
Danny O'Dwyer is one of them, like very much like saying just outlandish stuff, like very left facing and like very echo chamber. It's like, dude, like you're not even speaking facts anymore. You're just like tweeting off the cuff, which is what Twitter's for, but at the same time, it makes you look stupid.
Yeah.
So like after a while, it's just like, oh, I don't really care. Like I want to watch no clip because it looks like quality, but it's like at the same time, it's like, do I really want to support you because you're being really dumb on the internet? I don't know.
Leave the dumbness to us, sir. We've
Yes.
got you covered.
And leaps and bounds. But did you actually watch any of the clips from the event?
Yeah, I watched a couple of highlights or whatever.
Man, it's like it's one of those we've talked about multiple times before. We are not pro players, and we don't ever intend to be. But God, when you watch pro players play Apex in particular, it's like, whew, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think I could be a good alternate player. You know what I mean?
be an alt.
I could be a good alternate player if I could play 4 hours a day, like just straight up 4 hours a day, maybe play Apex, and like if I had like an 8-hour cycle or whatever, like 4 hours of doing some podcasts and doing some real good content, and then like 4 hours of streaming or something like that. If I could have some schedule like that, it's like I think I could, because like even playing lately, like I've been trying to grind through season 2. And so even just kind of doing that, like I feel like I've gotten better. I definitely still haven't been like winning every other match or winning 3 matches in a row or anything like that. But I feel like competently, I'm actually starting to get a little bit better. And it's definitely part of that is just that drive that like, okay, getting my dailies through, getting my weeklies. It's like, okay, I'm like checking boxes, and it's like having that like motivation to just be like, okay, I want to keep doing this or whatever. Is definitely it's brought me back to the game in a way that like I thought I was done with. You know what I mean? And it's like it's weird because we have a podcast here where we're supposed to talk about Apex and everything, but like to a certain extent, there was definitely a part where both of us were just kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of done with this or whatever. Yeah. And and even like last week we had a very negative reaction, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine if you didn't like how negative we were being. But yeah, last week we were even kind of negative on it or whatever. But it's funny how time can just change everything, because it's like now it's like I don't mind the grind. However, I don't know, maybe we'll talk about it later or whatever, but it's like, I am still struggling with the grind because it's like, life happens. That's life.
Yeah. To finish out this whole thing with the tournament, they did there's some totals for the final donations. Team Jimmy Uso, they had 2 wins and they had $23,000 in donations. Team Disrespect, Dr. Disrespect, had 1 win and it was $2,000 in donations. So good money, $25,000 going to Cancer Association. Can never beat that.
Yeah, it's always good to just be like, you know what? Fuck you, Cancer.
Exactly. And that's honestly, I do like that ad campaign. Like I like how just brutally like upfront it is. I really enjoy that.
Definitely. So if you'd like to fuck Cancer too, then make sure to go to those sites. We'll put them in the link down below, and you can also make donations or whatever. And I mean, obviously another real good one is Extra Life. I'd like to actually do one this year, because like I've been kind of doing other things, but like this year I feel like it might be a good time to do one of our own. So if you'd like to see us do one, then let us know, because I think, maybe if like season 3, but by then it might be season 4.
No, well, let's see. What is it?
3? Maybe.
Was there 67 days left?
Yeah, 67 days left. So 2 more months.
2 months. And then that would be October.
Yeah, so I guess it will be maybe it'll be like the middle of season 3. So it's like, hey guys, we got some grinding to do, so let's get this done. We got 24 hours to go.
Yeah, I'd like to do something.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, that's what we have for the news. So let's head into our deep dive with our new girl, Watson. All right, let's go ahead. Do you remember whose turn it is?
I was saying that you were going to do this one because you've had the most playtime with her. Giggity.
That is true. Okay. So, do we want me to just go ahead and do this on my own then?
If you want, I can read the background, and then you can get into the abilities.
Okay, yes, let's do that then.
Okay.
All right, so deep dive for Watson. First, let's talk a little bit about her background, Nate.
So her background definitely seems to be some of the more interesting out of the legends that we've gotten so far, because we've actually gotten kind of a deep backstory about her. And it's one of those that it fits perfectly for her character. So Natalie Watson, Paquette. I don't speak French, so it looks like baguette with a P. Natalie Watson Paquette is a familiar face in the Apex games, though for a different reason than most. Daughter of the game's lead electrical engineer, she studied his manuals to stay close to him and discovered her calling at a young age. Though she could be definitely distracted one moment and hyper-focused the next, electricity grounded her. Its ordered, predictable flow made sense in a way that the rest of the world didn't. She devoured every book she could on the subject and eventually became such a skilled engineer that she was commissioned to build the Apex game's modified containment ring. Unfortunately, her father died the day it was revealed, leaving her alone at her lowest moment. A group of competitors invited her to return to the arena with them, assuring her she could always have a home. She now fights alongside her friends in the arena she helped build, destroying incoming missiles, recharging shields, creating fences, and using her pylon to silence fights that get too loud. Nobody knows the arena better than Watson. Anyone who underestimates her is in for a shock. Pun intended. So that's what I mean. Like, we haven't gotten a really detailed background on a character except for maybe Octane, and it wasn't nearly as deep as this. Octane's biggest thing was it was tied back to Titanfall 2, which was great. But that's what I'm really going to enjoy about these characters, about these additional characters that they're adding in, is because they're working on them for longer. They worked on the original for when the game was coming out, but because they've got more time to actually focus on one character at a time, they're able to craft this really cool backstory, and really kind of refine their abilities. And you could honestly argue that, and you're about to get into her abilities, you could honestly argue that Watson is a noticeable upgrade, or the natural progression of the difference in characters, starting from Octane. Octane's abilities are really good, and Watson's feels like, okay, these are really good for a different reason.
Right. Octane was very much an assault and let's get to the battle as quickly as possible. Whereas Watson is kind of the more, let's set up a perimeter and let's, get down and dirty. So let's go ahead and start talking about her abilities. So she has these passive, let's do that again. So she has the passive ability Spark of Genius. Ultimate accelerants fully charge your ultimate ability, and standing near Inceptor pylons boost your tactical ability recharge. She is great. Oh my God. She is a great fort builder, maximizing this. What the fucking hell, man? This is weird worded. Weird. Maximizing this passive is a bunker.
Maximizing this passive in a bunkered situation is going to maximize all of her abilities.
That is fucking stupid. I do not like how that is worded. Utilizing would make more sense. Like utilizing this passive in a bunker situation. Like that personally sounds... Utilizing this passive in a bunker situation is going to maximize all of her abilities. See, like that makes sense. You know what I mean? But maximizing the blah, blah, maximize my, I'm sorry. That's just like, it's worded weird. I don't like it. And sometimes I just, anyways. So utilizing this passive in a bunker situation or even close quarter situation is going to maximize all of her abilities. Then she has her tactical ability, which is perimeter security. Wasn't it just called pylons? Oh, that's the ultimate. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Hold on. Okay. Then we have the tactical ability, which is the perimeter security. Connect nodes to create Connect nodes to create a electrified fence that damage and slow enemies when they go through it. Cooldown is 30 seconds, and the max nodes is 12. These can be destroyed by guns and grenades, so be careful to put them in strategic spots. These will trigger caustic traps and break doors if they swing into them. It is very loud and can cause a distraction. This tactical once again is a great bunker support. It forces enemies to go a certain direction, or then they force giveaway.
Or you take away that then.
Yeah, it's just being dumb. So this tactical, I'm not going to say once again, because it's like, why the fuck am I saying once again? Like little things are just like throwing me off. It's just like, stop it. All right, stop clicking. Okay. This tactical is once again, god damn it. This tactical is really good for close quarters. It forces enemies to go a certain direction, or it forces them to give away their position. Then there's the ultimate ability, the interception. That sounds weird. Then there's the ultimate ability, the interception pylon. Place an electric... I don't know why that's throwing me off. Place an electrified pylon that destroys incoming ordinances and repairs damaged shields as long as it stands up. There's a maximum of 3. Hold the fuck on. You can have 3 of these up?
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, that's weird. Okay, let's talk about that after. I'll say it again. Place an electrified pylon that destroys incoming ordnance and repairs damaged shields as long as it stands. And you can have a max of 3. This is an in-game situation. If you have 1 or 2 ultimate accelerants and you can stack your pylons to gain faster shield recharge for your team, you have so make sure
that needs to be a period to fast recharge for your team, and make faster recharge for your team, period. So make sure you put them in strategic locations.
Okay. So this ability is really good for in-game situations. Like if you have 2 ultimate accelerants and you can you can stack the pylons and gain shields faster for you and your team. So make sure to put these in strategic areas, because these can also be destroyed by gunfire. I guess I shouldn't say grenades. Okay. So make sure you put these in strategic places, because these can also be destroyed by gunfire. These I guess I just said that part. Hot projectiles. I've seen teams waste all grenades and ults trying to knock these out. It won't work. So don't waste any grenades or ults. No matter how many you throw at them, as long as it's up, it's not going to work. The only way to get rid of it is get in there, get dirty, and blow it up with your own weapons.
So let's talk for a minute there. First off, there's a lot of interesting tidbits there.
Definitely.
That we can definitely get into. The passive ability, it's cool because it's kind of similar to Octane's in a way as far as usefulness goes. Mm-hmm. Octane's whole passive is you're regaining health as you go. You're gaining it at a slow rate. Watson's having the ultimate accelerant fully charge your ultimate, and also being able to stand near the pylon, being able to charge your tactical ability. It's all of her abilities are coercing into one, where it's like, I remember we had a big problem with the jump pad, which we really didn't after it came out. But I remember leading up to it, we're like, okay, that kind of doesn't make sense. But as this seems like everything is working together in a really, really good way.
Yeah.
Same with perimeter security. Perimeter security is really cool. I still would like to actually go into a game and have that be my mindset of I'm going to test out these pylons.
Ooh, we had a really good situation. So this is going to be story time. Story time. The last circle was bearing down on Thunderdome. Okay. And wouldn't you know that the last squad that was hunkered down in Thunderdome was up in the box. We're talking the one you have to like go up the zip lines. And who did they have on their team? Watson. And what was at every entrance or right next to every entrance? A bunch of freaking pylons. These guys were hunkered down, and the only way we could go through is to find a way to get over their fences or to take the hit. And eventually we tried to go in because obviously the circle was getting smaller. It was going right towards that big cage. And so that type of a situation where like it's bearing down on a building, this is a perfect person to have on your team. She is really good for in-game kind of situations, in the sense that when it's the end game and you're able to hunker down into a building, you make them once again go into a particular entrance, or you cut them all off, and either way they have to come to you. And so in game kind of situations like that, she is like made for that, which is so cool.
Right. And I remember when we were watching the reveal for, we were like, oh, that's cool. They're putting like the one of the things they showed off was putting the pile, excuse me, the nodes around like a crate area. And like, but I think that was just to show that how many you could put up. But I remember we were watching it going, does that seem practical? Like that looks cool,
Yeah.
but does that seem actually practical? Because you feel like, people would just pick those off. Whereas like when we actually got her and we were playing the game, it was one of those, we were like, oh, this makes way more sense to put these pylons in doorways. So like they go to open the door and like they just walk right into it. So yeah, you're right. Like that's what she's perfect for, is to be able to, that kind of trap mechanic,
which is also really cool because it just makes her the polar opposite of Octane. Octane is about movement. He's about getting around as quickly as possible, getting that kind of like that angle on a person with his jump pad. That's what Octane is about. Whereas like Watson is very much about, the waiting game, finding a good spot, being extremely strategic or whatever. Playing as Octane, you might, get yourself into a situation that, you maybe you weren't ready for, or, God, why am I, God, playing as Octane, you might like get yourself into a situation you weren't ready for because it's so addicting to just go as fast as possible.
Gotta go fast. Now, this is the interesting one here. With her interception pylon, you can have a max of 3.
Yeah. Like this is the one part about her that seems maybe a little OP, because the fact that the ultimate accelerant completely recharges it, like I don't know, like maybe if it was more like 50%, it would still be fast, but the fact that you can essentially recharge it instantly and you can put 3 of these up, well, I mean, strategically, I don't think you would put up more than 1 at a time, but the fact that you could definitely kind of seems like, is this, or is this a possible way of having like it be overused? I'm not sure, but it's definitely interesting that you can go up to 3.
Yeah, I'll be honest. If I was in the opposing side of a Watson on a team and I saw that, like they had their barricades up and they had like the pylons running so they could keep their shields recharged, I'd probably be a little pissed. Yeah. Like I'd be like, okay, man, like come on now. I don't think she's super OP, but I think like she's out of any of them the most. That's like you could argue, depending on how people are using this, if it's going to be OP or not.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, this is a really good character. And if you're the kind of team that likes to maybe find where you think the center is going to be and find a really good place to, make some choke points or whatever, that's what she's good for. That's what she's made for. And utilizing her to the best of her ability is really going to be good, especially for that end game. So make sure to use her just right. All right, so that is our deep dive for Watson. So now we're going into our coaching champions. That's right, guys. It's the return of coaching champions, our tips and tricks. And obviously, we got a brand new weapon to talk about. So let's go right into our L-Star impressions. I've gotten my hands on it. I like it. It's nice. It's nice. I like the way it fires. The one thing like I don't like about like the devotion, for instance, is that its fire rate is fine. I don't have a problem with that, but it's the recoil. The recoil is just absolutely like ridiculous for this thing. And so like the L Star is a really good powerhouse of an LMG, and its fire rate is really good, which obviously makes its DPS almost exactly the same as the devotion. And once again, talking about that recoil, I really don't feel like a lot of the recoil is there. So even though its DPS might be the same as the devotion, I'd argue that it's better than the devotion, which makes sense because it is a gold weapon.
Right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't use the devotion a whole lot. Does the devotion still have that like wind up effect?
It does, but I don't
It's like a
really
gradual increase in fire rate.
Yeah, I don't really feel like it's that big of a deal. If anything, what happens most of the time is that if you do just constantly fire, you're going to overheat a little bit,
Yeah.
and so you have to watch out for that. But other than that, like it's definitely not the wind up isn't as bad as like Havoc, for instance, where it's like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a wind up, but I wouldn't say it's like it's in some cases that Havoc can almost be so detrimental to the fact that like you almost don't want to use it unless you have the overcharge hop up, because just how long it takes sometimes, even though it only takes like what, like some math guy out there, it takes like 1.8 seconds, but that 1.8 seconds in game time is just like, no, I don't want this. Give me the supercharge, cut that in half.
Yeah, it's very similar to like a Gatling gun is the best comparison. Like,
Yep.
like there's in Doom, there's a Gatling gun you pick up, like this big turret gun, and like you can add a mod to it to where it's automatically like winding up before you're even shooting it. But it's something similar to it where it's like that. It's not. Yeah, it's probably about 2 seconds if I was to take a guess. But I feel like I'm hearing that in my nightmares right now. The devotion wind up.
Oh God. Yeah.
But yeah, see, that's what's funny too is I never picked up the L-Star in Titanfall. I never did. But I was never really a big LMG guy in Titanfall either. Like I mainly just used assault rifles and some machine guns. But it's cool that they brought it back. And honestly, like I really enjoy the fact that you only find it in just the random supply drops. Like it's a gold gun, like a Mastiff, like a Kraber.
Yeah.
Sorry, I also have to scratch my head. So I like that it's one of those. It's like, I can use it. Like it's a fun item instead of like, oh, I got to run for that. I need that.
Yeah, and I mean, it just gives us a really good option between now we have a chance at a long range, we have a chance at a mid range, and we have a chance at a close range, and that variety kind of makes each supply drop encounter exciting because it's like it's like this is the kind of loot packs we want.
Yeah, exactly. This is the kind of surprise mechanic we enjoy.
Oh, careful, we're talking about EA. Don't want to get demonetized.
That's whatever, it's fine, they can go suck it.
So you'll have a total of 120 rounds when you pick it up, and each magazine holds 40 rounds. So this is good. I mean, I feel like with the Kraber and the Mastiff, I feel like the Mastiff, in my opinion, is just enough. Whereas the Kraber, I do kind of feel like you really have to pick your shots a little bit better, because it's like you don't want to waste it. Plus the fact that it has that like T-bolt action, it's like you really want to make sure when you take a shot, you're gonna hit, because how long it takes, or especially if you have to pull that big ass clip out, put the next one in, it's not a situation you want to be held in. And the Mastiff, I feel like it gets a little bit more, and I feel like 120 is a good amount. 120 is the amount that I would want if I had, light ammo, if I had heavy ammo. If I had 120, I wouldn't be, rushing everywhere to get more ammo. The only thing I would like is that there was this one time where I happened to have an L-Star and I came across another L-Star. instead of being able to transfer the ammo from that L star to this new L or to my L star, I had to just pick up that other L star. That kind of sucks in the sense that it's like, oh, well, I have to pick one that happens to have more ammo. And if they basically have the same amount of ammo, then it's like, eh. So it's like, that's one thing, but I feel like that's been a problem for a while, because obviously all the gold weapons kind of have that same problem or whatever. But it's just like, since the light machine gun is obviously meant to be shot a lot, it's like, I guess it's just something I'd like to change, just a nice little hot fix. Like, let me take let me take ammo from, similar weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
It's reasonable, it's not like, and that's the thing I've always had anytime I've picked up a gold gun, except for the Kraber. You have a good point there. You miss 100% of the shots you don't make. But I never really noticed the need to grab ammo for a gold weapon I pick up, because I'll pick it up pretty fast, and most of the time I'm either close to the end and I still have ammo, or I'm dead. So it's one of those, I don't ever feel a need to rush to get more ammo. If it's it being an LMG sort of, that might be a better indicator of needing to pick up more ammo. But at the same time, it's like, use that for your power weapon. Like, use what you can. Don't try to pick people off with this. Use it for when you have a shot. So it's the same thing you were saying with the Kraber. Conserve your ammo.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like it just feels good, because I even like the overheating, just because it's like, it is a pretty good beast as far as like how much damage, how much DPS you can get, because basically you'll get to about 8 shots before it overheats. Now, obviously, if you kind of pick your shots and maybe you like try to burst fire it, you can kind of circumvent that. But even then, if you overheat it, then it takes even longer to overload or to reload. So you really have to be a lot more strategic about it.
Yeah, 100% agree on that. And it's one of those that I like. It's such a small nitpicky thing, but anytime you have any kind of laser or energy weapon in a game, I like the fact that there's like an overheat animation to it, because it's one of those. It's like, oh, we're so used to reloading a regular magazine and a ballistic gun. Oh, like it's one of those. It's like, oh god, it burned my hand, stuff like that. So there's like little things with energy weapons I really like. But this is definitely an energy weapon I would pick up. I'll pick up the devotion if I need something in a pinch, but more often than not, I think the only energy weapon I would pick up would be a triple take, if that.
True. I would agree. Like the triple take I would pick up, and basically the Havoc and the devotion I would only pick up if I dropped, there's somebody right next to me and it's in front of me. Those would be the only reasons, or I guess if it's a daily or whatever. But at that point, I might throw it back down if I can get myself a turbocharger. Because speaking of the turbocharger, the L Star can actually be 36% faster than the Havoc with the turbocharger. So I think that's why they made sure to make the overheat the way it is. Because it's like, if you let somebody eat through the entire clip, that's too much. Like, that's too much raw power. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's why they kind of capped it off at 8. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure, you can fire faster than a Havoc or whatever, but you need to, you probably don't want to. So I like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. L-Star. So I haven't had a chance to pick it up yet. Of course, I also don't go for drops all that often. Like I'm a survivalist, so I'll try not to run to where I know everyone else is going to be.
Definitely.
But yeah, L-Star, great weapon.
L-Star. That's what we think about it. What did you guys think about it? What do you guys like about it? What do you hate about it? Is it worth being a gold weapon? Is this something that you would like to maybe change one? I would like for a limited time mode. I know we haven't talked about this in a while.
An LTM.
I would like a limited time mode where it's gold weapons only. Think about everybody running around with a Kraber and Mastiff. Everybody running around. Oh my god, that would be so freaking awesome.
That would be cool. That would be really cool, because it'd be like a simplified gun game.
Yeah, right. I like it. I hope that, especially since we're on week 4 now. Yeah, we're in week 4 of Apex Legends Season 2. It would be really nice to be like, okay, here's an event. it's going, not only is it just going to be fun and it's going to be something new, but if you play it, you get double XP. You know what I mean? Or maybe you get like double and a half, so 2.5 XP if you play this mode and double XP if you play the regular mode or something like that. Because it's just any reason to get me to keep playing. Because like I said before, it's already making me play like so much or whatever. So just like kind of keeping it spicy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. You started speaking math, and my brain started to hurt.
Jerker.
No math, no math,
no math. So I mean, like, I'm liking everything so far. So, but there's definitely some things we like to talk about. It's a bit critical, so we decided to make a brand new segment, and we like to call it Loudmouth Legends. All right, in Loudmouth Legends, this is where we're going to talk. This is the portion of the show that we're going to put aside for our personal opinions, and this is we're going to try to keep things a little bit more informational for the rest of the podcast. We told you on our last little bonus episode that, we got ourselves a nice researcher. So hopefully you've kind of seen that, and you've seen that, hey, we are taking steps to make this a little bit better, because you know what? You guys deserve it. So, Loudmouth Legends is time for like Nick to just let go and talk about whatever the hell he wants to talk about. And you know what, Nate? Sometimes, oh God, I love it when you go off.
Yeah. This is definitely going to be the critique corner of the show, where it's one of those, instead of like, and it's one of those like, I don't necessarily want to say this, but if you're loving everything else but don't want to hear us be critical, you can now skip this part.
Boom. And that's kind of like that's kind of like what we want. It's like, if you want to hear us have a rant or something, then that's great or whatever. But we do realize that there are some of you that might not like it, and that's totally cool. And so that's why when we kind of created this, it seemed like a natural where we can still be ourselves and we can still give our genuine opinions, but we can also have a good portion of the podcast be informational, which is what a lot of you people come for.
People. Yeah. And there's one thing that I want to put out to you guys. I really want a response on. We've noticed in reactions that there's some kind of disconnection between I feel like us.
Mm-hmm.
We feel like in some of our episodes, we're very critical in some episodes, like very, very critical. And I think to some, it comes off as we're complaining when we're just being critical. So it's one of those, like, I don't know what else to do for it to be different, to come across, hey, we're actually just being critical. Like, we're not sitting here complaining. Yeah. But I know to some people that's one of the same. But to kind of give you a happy medium, here's a single segment where we put kind of all of our complaints into one. So like I said, if you don't want to listen, skip it.
Yep. Skip it. All right. So like I'm going to go super neg right now, but I had a huge problem when I logged on to Apex today. And that was, I logged on and I was going to get the $20 Apex. And I was basically, I was pretty much already decided that I was going to do that or whatever. So I go in and I get this nice little surprise, like, oh, hey, I could get the $20 for $17.99. And I was like legit excited, like, oh, okay, let's get this done or whatever. I click on it. And then when you go into the actual, like, store, it goes $19.99 or with EA access, $17.99. And I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like, you serious right now?
Now let's be fair in this one.
Oh,
I don't think
a fair segment.
I don't think either of us have an issue with exclusivity deals.
Definitely
like
not.
in terms of that. Because when you told me this, I was confused at first, and it wasn't until you kind of specified more. But I also remembered, oh yeah, they just launched EA Access for PlayStation, because it's been on Xbox, and Origin Access has been on PC for, those two have been around for the same time. So it's cool they're finally bringing it to PlayStation. But yeah, so basically it looks like the problem here, because I went and looked at it myself. The problem here is when you go to the Apex store to go buy the packs, it has the slashed out normal price for what the other price is.
Yep.
But there's no disclaimer, there's no nothing there that says, hey, this is the price with EA access until you get to the PlayStation Store itself, and then you have two options to buy.
Yeah,
And
so I see this right here. It says 21.50, 21 coins, 150 bonus, slashed out 19.99 USD. Right under it says 17.99. No small print, no anything. So I'm like, well, hell yeah, I'm getting some money off. You click on it, the screen loads, it goes blue for a second, and then that's when it finally says, oh yeah, EA access. So it's like, I feel like just that little itty bitty right under 17.99 EA access.
Yeah,
you know
they
what I mean?
can they can add like a little like star with EA access.
Yeah,
You know,
asterisks.
Asterisks. Yeah, and the thing here too is, like, someone will say, well, EA access is inexpensive. That's true. It's not. It's $5. It's $5, and you kind of get a lot with that, especially like good prices on like currency or other stuff in other EA games. But it's just that simple problem of, it's like, it's bizarrely
misleading
that it's like, oh, hey, it's actually on sale. Just kidding. When you get to the store, it's this or this. So it's like, have that disclaimer up front, which is, it's one of those, again, I can give them a pass in some capacities because they just instituted this.
Right.
But it's also, we're kind of starting to see a pattern of like them instituting it without refining it. You know, like them putting the choice. Now, granted, EA access, they had no choice. Like, that's something like, hey, we just put this out, but you would still I don't know. It's just, it's probably going to be changed soon. By the time this episode goes live, it's probably going to have that little asterisk, that little warning saying that this is pricing with EA access.
Yeah.
But at time of recording, it's not. And it's like, you guys are kind of having a pattern here. Like, what's going on? Like, you would think there would be more like refining and effort put into small decisions like this.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like that's a no-brainer, because like when I have PlayStation Plus and I go on to the store, I go to the deals, or it's just on the front page or something, and
it's
has
clear
it
as
slashed out, and then it's yellow. And right next to it is that PlayStation Plus logo, that little plus sign. And so it is clear as day. This is the price you would get if you had PlayStation Plus. So if there was like a logo, like an EA Access logo, and instead of they're both white, like one's grayed out and then one's white. So even if it was like blue and it had EA Access right next to it, it's a simple thing. Then it's like, it's so simple that it's like, well, why wouldn't you do it in the first place? And by no means do we think that it's nefarious and it's like, here's EA coming over here and just shitting all over our Respawn. Definitely not. But it's just a little
oversight.
thing. It's just a little thing that I was like, I was so excited, and then no. So slightly more on the positive side. What do you think about the discounts? Oh my God, they just put a Mirage up for 1,800. It's weird to see something for 1,800.
Yeah. So you're asking, what do I think about exclusive discounts?
Yeah, the exclusive. So for now, right now, at the time of recording, 5 days and 23 hours left. We have the Divine Right, which is the caustic one where he has like he has a blindfold over him, which is kind of cool, makes him seem like a ninja or something. So it's crossed out and it's $13.50. So it's 25% off. What do you think in general of like the discounts and everything?
Well, with that, I don't think that's an EA Access discount. I think that's because they've been selling their skins.
We're talking about something different, Nate.
Oh, okay.
These are coins, not USD.
Gotcha. I don't mind them. I think they're cool. Like, I mean, I think they're good. Instead of $18, it's $13. I think it's close. But at the same time, like, I don't know. Like, I still just think the skins are too expensive, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. I know you are too, but I think everyone agrees that the skins shouldn't cost that much, especially the character skins. The gun skins, I can see them costing more just because that's what you see. I still don't think it's worth $18, but I mean, it's one of those, when I saw that caustic skin, first, I don't have caustic. I haven't bought him yet, so it would be pointless for me to buy it. But seeing that, and I saw that it was $13, I was like, that one's kind of cool. It kind of made me ponder for a minute.
Yeah. Which is sort of the whole what is it? FOMO, fear of missing out. That's why they got 5 days, 23 hours left. Do you want it? Do you need it? You might.
You might. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they do more discounts on. I mean, I know they've done weapon skin discounts, but I feel like they do more discounts on character skins than weapon skins.
They do seem to be a little bit more towards the character side.
Which is like, I can get why, because you want because the gun skins are selling more, probably.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, we were looking at, before we started the show, we were looking at the legendary skins for some of the different guns, like the Peacekeeper, and then the was it the Kraper or was it the Mastiff? We were looking at the Mastiff because we were talking about that one that looks like a Nintendo controller. Those those are cool. Are they worth $18? That one's a little bit harder to think on because they're really, really, really good and really cool, and to be able to own that outright would be really, really good. But I mean, I don't see a problem with them. I think it's like nice in some ways because, hey, it's $5 off basically. But at the same time, like we've talked about before, where the prices of these skins, they're already inflated. It's one of those that skin's probably only worth $6, but we're charging 18. And actually, hey, we're charging at a discount now. It's 13.
Yeah,
that's the problem with digital goods in general, not necessarily just these skins. But it's a free to, I'm gonna put on my internet voice. It's a free to play game. Yes, I understand that.
Well, and see, I guess the only problem I have is the same problem I've kind of always had with it, is the fact that these aren't new skins. These are skins that have been here from the very beginning. At least that L-Star, for instance, that's a newer gun, but so even then, it's not technically a new skin. This skin came out weeks ago when the L-Star came out. Yeah. And so that's one thing that I would really like to see change. Even if it's like every other week, every third week, once a month, something, it'd just be nice to see, and yes, it would be a marketing ploy to get you to spend more money. However, if we had exclusive items, then we would spend more money. But the quote unquote exclusive portion of the store is just, here's skins that have been here for a while. Now you have a chance to buy it, and even the Divine Right, I think I've seen the Divine Right in the store before, so it's not like this is the first time it's ever come up.
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen it with that specific look, which is funny. This is a little additive. It's not anything about discounts, but typically when they have the character skins on the store, they're comparable in a way. They're like, oh, those both look good. Whereas I looked on this one, I was like, I could really care less about Bangalore's skin, like her just being a SWAT officer. Cool, I guess. But as like Caustic's, I was like, oh, like, because I don't like the Caustic normal skin.
Oh my.
like his normal, like, just outfit, I don't care for. That looks super cool. Like, that looks really, really cool, the Divine Right one. But even still, it's like, is it worth even $13? I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so then let's talk about the grind. Let's talk about the grind, man. Let's talk about that grind, man. Like, okay, so here's my problem. We record on Thursday. The refresh happened on Tuesday, and I feel like I've just gone back to work. So I wasn't working before because of my back injury. I've just gone back to work, and suddenly I feel so freaking behind. And it's like, now I'm going to have Friday and Saturday off, which is cool. But my wife also has Friday and Saturday off. So it's like, I'm not really actually going to get to grind this week. So I'll be able to do the weeklies. That's really cool. I'm so glad, like literally, legitimately, I am so glad that I can keep grinding those. Like, for instance, I have 2 more knockdowns with a sniper rifle and I get a battle pass. That's from week 1. I have just 4 more with a submachine gun and I get a free battle pass. That's from week 2. I have, let's see, 50 headshots with the light machine gun. That's a little bit more. I only have 4 out of 50. So that one I might just get over the span of the battle season, because that's not something I can do right off the bat or whatever. But then this week, like I have 7,500 damage with assault rifle, and that's cool because that's only damage. It's not headshots. I also got like I got 1 out of 25 kills, which is only 6,000 stars. I have so far 2 out of the 4 land in a certain area. So I think it was like land in, where was the first one? Land in Relay. Then the second one was wetlands, and now I'm land in swamps. So that'll be and then just one more land in, and then I get that free battle pass or whatever. So it's like, I love the fact that the weeks I can go over and over again, but the weekly reoccurrings, I lost that. I think I want to say, I think I was at like 7 out of 10. And that was, I want to say that was Sunday night. So I had enough time where I could have made that up, because out of 6 challenges, I only needed to make sure I got 3 of them. So half of them, I could have got it done. But like one thing after another, Sunday is actually when I went back to work. And so it's like suddenly I didn't have time or whatever. And so I'm a little worried because now, let's see, I'm 18 and I only have 67 days left. So it's like, I'm starting to feel that grind or whatever, and I'm tempted, and I don't know if I like it or not, but I'm tempted to buy some levels, which I guess to a certain extent is exactly like my whole problem with the situation. Because on the one hand, positive sides, on the one hand, I am so driven to do it, but on the other side, sometimes I just plain don't have the time. You know what I mean? And so it's like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, because it's like I want to get through this. I genuinely have the want, especially compared to first season, and especially compared to just the last episode and how we were kind of negative. I have that drive, I have that motivation, but then the actual doing it seems to be what I'm having a problem with. It kind of sucks, because it's like, oh man.
Yeah, like I really kind of wish. Now, granted, of course, I can still buy the levels for the pass, but I kind of wish that I would have went ahead and bought the $25 version, just because.
Yeah, it's technically more expensive now.
Yeah, it is technically more expensive now. Yeah,
it's $150 now. If I was to buy Battle Pass, one is $150. Whereas if we would have done the 25 from the very get-go, that would have been 25 levels. So that kind of sucks, honestly.
Yeah, it's one of those that I had a feeling, but then I was like, you know what? I only have really 10. I don't have the 25 to spend.
Right.
So I went ahead and did it. But I was expecting it to be like, Call of Duty's contraband system, where it was like pretty much like, I'll grind through it. It's not an issue. Whereas this one tends to be, which to a lot of people is a really good thing. A lot of people don't like a simple like tier stream. They like having to grind for it, which is cool. And we do too. But it's one of those that, like Nick was saying, I think that's very poignant, is because you went back to work, you feel like you're now at a detriment to get to where you need to be at the end of the stream. Like that's like, I would say it'd be nice to have a little bit of leniency there. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't punish the player for not playing the game every day.
Yeah. And I guess like maybe if there was a way to get a free battle pass per day, or even, and I mean, and there's plenty of you that, well, I do get a free battle pass a day. It's like, yes, technically you could, if you strategize, you could get a free battle pass a day. But even then, right now, I have 67 days left. I don't have enough or whatever. And so, to be clear, I'm not complaining about the battle pass being too hard to get through necessarily. I'm complaining about myself, I don't have enough time to get through it. You know what I mean? So it just sucks, because I mean, the more I look at it, like that rhino skin just looks freaking awesome or whatever. The especially like the 110 version, like it just looks awesome, and I genuinely want to, and it's like I missed out on that Havoc skin, and I'm just like, oh no, I missed out on the Havoc skin. This sucks so bad. Versus, it's the difference between wanting it You know, I didn't want the Havoc skin. I didn't want to go through it. I want it now. And so I guess it hurts more that I can't or that I might not, you know. So I don't know. We're going to try. I'd like to try to get, you know, some more people on there. I definitely need to get a good group together so I can just start grinding. Cause like sometimes going in with randos and trying to grind can be hard because it's like, brah, land at wetlands. I want to go to wetlands and nobody wants to go to wetlands. So I'm like, God dang it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I tried like one or two rounds where it's like I was the dick that like went off or whatever, but it's like I felt so dirty. So I went back to like being a good team member. Who would have figured, right?
Yeah. it's like, oh wait, I actually want to be. It's like, I don't like this feeling. I don't like this feeling.
Yeah, I don't like this feeling. Makes me feel dirty in my no-nos. All right. So that's it. Bye. And cut. Are we done? We're done? We're good? All right. All right, everybody. So that was Apex Legends HUBcast. Thank you for joining us today. Let us know. Obviously, we had more to talk about this time, so I can't like guarantee that this is the new show and we're gonna have this show every time. We had a lot of information to go over. You know what I mean? Like, so I can't guarantee that every show will be like this, but hopefully you did kind of notice a little bit of difference because we were able to kind of research a little bit more. We were able to kind of delegate certain things to certain people. And so, I mean, we really want to show that we've taken this seriously and we want to kind of change and make this better. You know, we don't want to just kind of make content for the sake of making content. We want to make it good for you guys. Speaking of making it good, we're in talks with Watson herself to come on the show. So that means we're going to have Justine, I almost said Jamie. Justine, the voice actor of Watson, I've contacted her on Twitter. She's interested in coming on, so hopefully sometime soon. We had JB on and that was just fun. Like, he's a cool guy or whatever, and that's the funnest thing about these things is that we don't really necessarily treat it like an interview. We just treat it as like, hey, let's get to know this person. And so that's really exciting because just like talking to somebody in a completely different situation as us is just interesting and it's really fun. So hopefully that'll happen soon. It's not guaranteed yet and we don't have a date set. So I'm just letting you know that it is in the works and it should hopefully be coming down the pipe. So get excited for that.
Yeah. Hopefully this time I'll actually be able to be on the show.
Yep.
You know, no scheduling conflicts here.
All righty. So thank you for joining us. I was your host, Nick.
And I was your host, Nate.
And we'll see you down in Kings Canyon where it's going to be legend.
Wait for it.
You totally fucked it up.
Shut up.
Shut up. I did not. I did not. I do like how that goes. I mean, even though I was messing up here and there, obviously, I do like how that went. That felt a little bit more.
Yeah, there's a lot. I marked a lot more than we have recently, so.
Right. But I mean, in it, I don't know, like, I guess we just had more to talk about. Like, that's another thing I am almost a little bit scared now because it's like, well, we talked a lot because there's a lot to talk about. What the fuck are we going to talk about next time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would like to maybe talk about, we haven't talked about it. I'd like to maybe talk about squad synergy or whatever, but like, is it too late in the game to talk about something like that? Because I mean, how many people have maybe already talked about it? That's kind of what I'm worried about.
Yeah, squad synergy. I mean, I feel like we've talked about in passing, not necessarily like something we've actually like a topic. Because
I mean, we could get away with it because we haven't done it. But what I'm more worried about is like some douchebag in the comments being like, "Oh, blah blah did this," like, you know, when it first came out. Why are you guys just now getting to it?
But I also feel like we covered that in some ways in Coaching Champions when we first started out.
What do you mean?
Like, are you're talking about group synergy, like how you need to play with a group?
No, I meant group synergy as in like what people we think go good with each other.
Oh, yeah. I don't think we've done it in passing.
Yes, we've talked about it here and there, but we've never talked about, okay, this is these people go good together.
Our
These
official
people-
rankings for groups.
Yeah, something like that, maybe.
Yeah,
So I mean, we've ranked champions. So yeah, maybe now, especially since we have a full, 10 now? Was it 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 10. So now that we have a full 10, let's figure out like what's the best
combinations.
Which, like I said, I just don't know how many people have done that. I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't subscribe to like Apex channels, so I don't know if this is something they talk about, if this is something they've done. And I guess
never actually listened to Jump Master. Like I kind of was like, I don't want to. Like from the beginning.
I think I listened to it once or whatever, and it's like, I don't know. It was very much like, I guess it was just too similar to ours, but in a more negative way, it's like they don't really have a structure. They just start talking, And I mean, we've had a lot of episodes lately where we just start talking or whatever, but I do like this structure. That's one thing I crave. And I don't know, since we went away from it or whatever, it feels nice to get back to it, because it's like, I like the structure of it. Morning grind is nice, and it's nice having just like a conversation or whatever, but it's different when it's like, wait, what show have we watched? What games have we played? Versus here's a game, and having it structured in the way it is just makes sense.
Right.
I'm sorry I'm boring you, sir.
No, it's just late.
No, it's just late, and I just don't know. And it's just like, please let me go. Stop it. Alrighty. We'll get out of here. I'll get out of your hands.
I didn't even check to see if anyone...
I don't think so. I mean...
Oh, shit. Danny did chat, and he said, yikes, y'all may not want to listen to Movie Fix, because I was pretty complimentary of The Lion King.
That's funny.
I forgot to keep that open. Wow.
That's okay. We don't talk to chat during the show.
Yeah, we don't talk to Danny anyway.
Yeah, we don't talk to that douchebag. What did she talk about? What was
douchebag?
Yeah, let's go ahead and cut it.
Oh, you want me to cut it?
Cut it. Shut it down.
And
Shut it all down.